Buonasera, what's up everybody? Alright, so we're in Gangnam, we're gonna walk around, but we're gonna do a dialogue beforehand. My trip has definitely not been going as planned. As you can see, I fell on the stream, which was stupid because I got too drunk. You know, I know when I'm wrong, and I was wrong there, you know? And the next day, I went out again, didn't get too wasted, took a taxi home, left my phone in the taxi. I think it slipped underneath his seat, so we have to wait until he gets his car cleaned, and they do it like once a week, and the police pretty much assured me that they would return it because you can go to jail for like stealing a phone that expensive, and people return it. Like they have a whole system online where like I've been checking it every day. There's already like, I've seen 15 fold 4s people have lost in taxis and stuff. So they do return stuff here. It's a pretty big deal to do that, and everybody already has a nice phone. Like half the dudes have a fold or a flip that I see here, or a brand new Apple phone. So it then rained for 2 days straight. So I just took some time to reflect on my poor decision skills and, you know, what am I really doing, and to grow up and stop drinking. So I haven't been drinking for the past 2 days. I just had a Paps with the cheesesteak I had. And you'll see that video probably after this video because I want this one to come out first. So yeah, just a few poor choices, man, led to a pretty disastrous vacation so far, or a trip. And it all could have been prevented if I just didn't, you know, go out and get wasted. You know, I don't need to go out and get drunk to make content. So I said I was going to do that. I didn't. And now I have to. So I reflected for 2 days. I was really down on myself for losing such an expensive phone, because, you know, if we were in America, even with tracking, or Vietnam, or most other countries outside of probably Korea and Japan, you're never seeing that phone again. So, oh, here's one of the parking garages. They're super awesome. So you go in, they have these in Japan too, and it rolls and it goes up. Pretty awesome, right? So yeah, it ruined the trip for me. And it took me a while, you know. There's stuff going on back home too, nothing with our relationship, just things that Win needs my help with. So the plan is to hopefully get my phone back in a day, go to Jeju and Busan for a day in each, and then come back to Seoul and then fly back home. So end the trip like 4 or 5 days early to go home and help her. Got the Ferraris. So you'll see this stuff in Gangnam all the time. You know, it's after the song Gangnam Style. Here's the Apple store. We're on the small camera. I forgot my lens. I meticulously packed my camera bag today too, and I left the lens on the corner for the good camera. So what I'm going to do now is head home and get the good camera. So it was interesting, like my phone went offline because it kind of went into a dead zone in the guy's car. And that's how I figured out that it was for sure in a taxi. The next day, you know, this guy that picked me up in the taxi, he only drives from midnight to 5 a.m. every day. And he lives in Incheon. He lives by the airport. So he goes to the airport first and he picks somebody up at the airport. And then he drives them into Seoul, and then he goes to the party locations, like at 2 a.m., 1 a.m. And the way that the taxis work here is they won't start the meter. They'll just go by and they'll make you pay like double the price. So it's a way to make way more money as a taxi driver. So this guy does that, right? So I was able to ping the phone for 2 days while it was offline and still on in his car. So one night I went out and followed him around to every stop, because I get a ping like every 3 minutes, 4 minutes, and I'd always be a minute behind. I would just miss him. And then the crazy thing was, on top of that, is he's a taxi driver, so like, I don't know Korean. How am I gonna just randomly stop taxi guys and be like, I think my phone's in here, and was I in your taxi yesterday? So it started to become apparent that I wasn't gonna be able to find it on my own, even though I gave it a great deal of effort and resources to try and do it on my own. So I went to the police station that day, filed the lost and found thing for it, and I went back today, and there's a lady that spoke a little bit better English, so I talked with her for like an hour. I explained everything to her. I had the Google Ride on the locations because, you know, it was constantly syncing and updating. So it showed that the taxi, like, that the guy's a shady taxi driver, kind of. You know, he took me from a place that was like 9 blocks from the place I was at to my hotel, and he went in like a loop around to collect more money. But I did make it back to the place, and of course that's where the location stopped. Was when the phone probably fell in. I kind of remember what happened. I was showing him how to go there because I started to recognize, I'm like, dude, no, I'm only 5 minutes away. Like, we're already 10 minutes out. You're going to the wrong place. He might have just been going to the wrong place too, because like, they don't know any English, these older guys, and they don't read English Korean. They only read what's it called, Hangul. They only read the Korean language. So I just told him it in English, and he seemed to know when I jumped in. So what I had done is I fired up the phone to show him, and then I think I was leaning in the middle, and it probably dropped down in the middle console, you know, into the passenger seat, and then probably underneath, and then that's probably where it lost connection. So I was able to ping it for like 48 hours pretty much, and then I chased him down that one night, never found him. I, however, I was in, like, since he was in a party area, he was at one of the girls' colleges and crazy clubs everywhere. I'm going to film it and show you that. I've got a bunch of great party locations that I'm going to show you where, like, everybody goes and parties. But I walked a girl home there that had some weird dude following her. She was, like, super drunk. I'm like, let me just put you in a taxi and take you home. She could barely walk. So eventually she's like, oh, I live... She figured out where she lived, and then I walked her back to like her dorm or whatever it was and put her back. And then after that, so this is like 5 a.m. now. You cannot get a taxi at 5 a.m. here without paying like 50 won, which is like 30 bucks, 35 bucks. So I'm just walking around, and like these group of like 3 Koreans and then like 2 expats just started chatting me up. They just asked me where I was from, as I was sitting at 7-Eleven hitting my vape. And they invited me out to eat, so I went out and ate with them. Eventually the subway came back on, I think at like 5:30, 6 o'clock. So then I went home, and then the 2 days of reflection are the in between. And it just rained constantly, so there was nothing I could really do anyways. There's indoor stuff here to do, but I just didn't have the, you know, I didn't have the mindset. Like, I was so fucking mad at myself. And like, dude, I haven't lost something like that in forever. Since I got my phone stolen on walking home from Buivang like 3.5 years ago. And then before that, I have never lost really anything expensive. That's just not the way I roll. Even if I'm a little wasted, like, I've got a pretty good emergency system in my mind of how that stuff works. So I was just really pissed off at myself. Of course, my wife was mad at me too. She's like, what the fuck? You lost the phone? And I'm like, do you think I really want to lose the phone? Like, do you think I'm happy right now? So I'm trying to get the show back going. I'm keeping optimistic that this dude will clean out his car and he'll take it to the police station. You know, it was kind of reassuring when the lady was showing me that like there was 100 Fold 4s that had just showed up in the past day. Flip 4s, iPhone, whatever, what is the new one, 14. So people do return expensive phones here. So hopefully that guy does. Of course, I secured the device. I sent to the lock screen, you know, my email address, and then in Korean, reward email. So it's all secured. And the way the lady explained it to me, since Samsung has such good tracking, it's almost impossible for them to even take the phone. Like, anytime, like if someone did take it and they turn it on, I'm gonna get the location within a second. Like, even if it's not got a SIM card in it. So they made it really, really difficult to kind of steal a phone here that's really new. She said it was a bigger thing back in the day, but now like 100% of phones get returned. And sometimes it can take up to a week. Because it's like my instance where the taxi's got to go clean his taxi and then he'll find it when he's like poking around and shit. So I'm hopeful that we find it in the next few days. I'm pushing forward with the phone I have now, which is my old OnePlus. And then on top of that, say it never comes back for some reason, he doesn't find it for a long time. I do have Samsung Plus Care insurance, which I forgot that we got extra on my phone. So I think it's $200 to replace the phone. So it's not a total loss. It's $200 to $400. We're figuring out the price now. So if anything, if I don't get it back, it's just a $400 at tops mistake that I made. But you know, I hold myself accountable when I do stupid shit, and that was stupid. You know. Oh, there's a McDonald's. McDonald's is very popular here, like massively popular. They like their McDonald's here. Like they like it more than KFC and shit. Taco Bell was phenomenal. That's why I filmed it. Like, why would I not film something that's delicious? You know, people like to come at me and be like, why would you possibly eat that food in Korea when there's all this yummy food? Do you eat back home? Do you eat the same ethnicity of food 3 times a day? I mean, what are you even talking about? Really? If you don't want to watch a video, then just you don't have to watch it, you know? So we did the cheesesteak one. We did this walking video now. I'm gonna go back, get my lens, and I'm gonna show you the area that I'm staying in, which has a crazy little party area too, with like crazy food area. And then tomorrow we're gonna film Itaewon by Hooker Hill, where we did that video, which Hooker Hill does not exist. They got rid of it a long time ago. There's some dude, I think Brett, that's always commenting like, oh, 2 years ago it was popping, and it wasn't popping 2 years ago. They cleaned that up like 3 or 4 years ago. They got rid of all of it. It's now just a scattered like bar or two with a lady watching a CCTV behind a shadowed glass that looks like worse than the girls from the 4 floors of whores from Singapore. There is absolutely no reason to look for sex work here. It's stupid. Pick up a chick naturally. Come on. You don't need to buy a sex worker. And they're not hot even if you can find them there. But by that area, there is a tremendous party street, like tremendous. And then now I know that one by the girls' college from when I was trying to track my phone. That one's even crazier. It's like literally 50 clubs all on 50 clubs all on top of each other. So, you know, it got bad in the middle. Hopefully it gets better towards the end. Hopefully you guys like the content. I'm gonna just start shooting 3 or 4 or 5 videos a day. You know, I realize I have to back down on getting drunk when I go out. Having a beer or 2 is okay, a bottle of soju, but having 3 or 4 bottles of soju and 10 beers, that is not a good idea. And I should have known that, and I hold myself accountable. So thank you to everybody that sent support, that do know about it. And yeah, you know, I'm gonna do a live stream probably tonight. You know, we'll see what happens. So thank you guys for watching. If you did like this video, subscribe to the channel, of course, hit the comment and like. So see you on the next one. Stay frosty. Peace out.